Hey folks, Connor from Nycewheels here, and today we're going to be comparing two of the top-of-the-line mid-drive systems on the market today. We'll be comparing the Bosch versus the Brose Motor. So in this video, we'll talk about some of the mechanical differences between the two systems. We'll talk about some of the different features they have, as well as talk about how they affect your ride. So let's start off with some of the mechanics of the Bosch motor. So the Bosch motor is an internally geared motor. So what it has inside is nylon gears, basically a smaller sprocket that's turning against larger sprockets, and that's what's going to give you the torque into that little chainring. Now what's interesting about the Bosch setup is that they all have only a single chainring. They're also pretty significantly smaller chainrings than what you'll see on a regular bicycle. But that's because the Bosch motor operates at a higher RPM. So that means that whatever tooth count you have on that small chainring, you want to multiply that by 2.5, and that's going to give you the real world effectiveness of the size of the chainring that you have. So because of that geared motor setup, it's not the quietest mid-drive motor in the world, but it's not very loud either. And you get that high torque out of that smaller sprocket as well, and it's very efficient at high speeds. So going into some features of the Bosch system, what's great about the Bosch motor as a whole is that it's not just a motor by itself, it is a whole system. So every electric part of the bike is going to be together made by Bosch. So that means getting warranty claims is pretty easy, diagnosing is pretty easily done through Bosch's software at any Bosch dealer, and all the batteries and displays are made to work with each other for whatever particular bike it's manufactured on. Another really nice feature about the Bosch system is that you have what's called shift sensing. So that means that the motor is going to know when you're shifting gears, and it's going to back off the power just for the time it takes for that chain to move or for that internal gear to shift. So that's going to increase the life of your drivetrain pretty substantially when it comes to long-term maintenance. Bosch displays also come in a couple different flavors. You do have the Purion display, but most of the time you'll probably see the Intuvia display, which is going to give you a lot of information. And one of the coolest readouts that they do offer is a real-time range estimate based on the power setting that you're on and based on the size of the rider and a couple other different factors that give you a really good estimate of how many miles you have to go on your charge. Now, breaking down the ride characteristics of a Bosch motor is pretty tricky because they do have a couple different styles of motor. They do make a CX motor, which is their mountain bike specific motor that's going to give you a lot of high-end torque, and that's going to allow for really easy hill climbing. They also do make a performance line and performance line speed motor, which is on the bike that I have in front of me, that can get you going up to 28 miles an hour as a Class 3 speed pedelec. One thing that all of the motors do have in common is that when you are shifting gears correctly, the motor is incredibly efficient with even what seems to be a pretty small battery and motor wattage setup. Overall, Bosch systems definitely favor riding at a little bit higher cadence in general, but are extremely efficient at maintaining higher speeds with a little less effort. Going into some of the mechanical features of the Brose motor, it is also a geared motor, but it's quite a bit different from Bosch. Instead of having nylon gears running against each other, you have nylon gears that are spinning a carbon belt on the inside. So that's what helps keep the Brose motor very quiet in general while you're riding, and keeps the motor also very compact. So it's pretty often that you'll see Brose motors on bikes that don't look very electric at first glance, like the Easy Motion Atom Diamond Wave. Another interesting fact about the Brose motor is that it does use normal sized bike chainrings, and that also allows it to use a double chainring setup, which is pretty common on some mountain bikes that are equipped with the Brose motor. So one thing that makes the Brose motor very different from some other mid-drive systems that are out there is that Brose only makes just the motor, nothing else. So that allows manufacturers to do their own batteries, their own displays and controllers, and really tune the motor to make it pretty unique to the style of bike that it's on. This allows each individual manufacturer not to be limited to a specific battery size. So you'll often find that a lot of Brose bikes are equipped with pretty large batteries, some going well over 600 watt hours. So that's going to give you very long range and long distance travel with this highly efficient mid-drive motor. So it's really nice that Brose allows each individual bike maker to really play to their strengths, like Easy Motion with their very nicely integrated frame batteries can still use this efficient mid-drive motor and have a really long range commuter bike or really nice lightweight mountain bike. So going into the ride characteristics of the Brose motor, one thing you'll feel when riding this that is going to give it a slight edge over some other motors is that regardless of what bike the motor is on, it's going to have 90 Newton meters of torque. So that's going to make hill climbing extremely easy and really efficient. So they do make two different styles. They make a 250 watt and a 350 watt motor. Typically the 350 watts will be on speed pedelec bikes or bikes that can be pedaled to 28 miles an hour, and the 250 on bikes that will go 20 miles an hour. Another thing about the Brose motor is that it's a little more sensitive to the pressure that you're putting onto the pedals. So it does require a little bit more of a push to maintain those top end speeds, but it really comes in handy when you're climbing hills because it'll sense that extra pressure just from the incline that you're going, and that's going to help it move you along that hill really easily. The extra hill climbing power and the fact that it's a bit quieter and more concealed is definitely attractive to mountain bikers who maybe not want to be so obvious that they're riding an electric bike on the trails. Because the motor also operates quite a bit different from Bosch, it doesn't require those higher cadences to still give you a lot of power and efficiency. You can be in a tougher gear and still power up a hill pretty well with the Brose motor. So now, having learned all this info about both of these motor systems, you're probably trying to decide which one is better for you. Well, honestly, either way you go is a great choice. These are both some of the top of the line systems on the market today. What's more important to decide is if you like the actual bike that they're on. There are so many different bikes out there using both of these systems, and the most important thing to look for first is that you like the bike that you're sitting on and that it's comfortable for you and it's going to meet your needs. If you want to hear more about each of these bikes individually, click the links at the end of the video for our reviews on the Bulls Daily Grinder and the Easy Motion Atom Diamond Wave. As always, the best way to really know what you're going to like the most is to get on a test ride for both of these, and you can do that at our Manhattan store or speak with one of our experts over the phone or through email. Thanks again for watching. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, as well as turn on those notifications to let you know when we release new videos.